Right, I'm going to try and do this quickly because it looks like it's going to try and rain again. Chloe and I are going on an overnight wilderness expedition with our boards this weekend, and I thought you might be interested in just having a little look at what I've packed and what I'm planning on taking. This certainly isn't a this is what you should take. This is what I've thought to take. Very welcome to suggestions or thoughts and ideas on ways that we could improve, but this is what I'm thinking of taking, and I may do a follow-up video to have a bit of think about after the trip, see what's worked and what hasn't. The trip we've got planned is an interesting one because it involves a couple of 2 days of very different paddling. We're planning on starting in Elphin on the west coast, heading along one of the locks there into the shadow of Sullivan and camping up overnight. So that first day should be pretty straightforward, flat lock paddling. Day 2, however, we're looking on planning following the river down to Invercarcake. Some of the stretches of that river are grade 2, grade 3, there's a sizable waterfall along the way, and that's going to present an interesting different paddling challenge, and the kit we're going to have to bring is going to have to try and reflect that as well. So it's been an interesting one to try and work out what to take. So let's take a look. We'll start with paddling gear. So I'm going to be wearing my usual dry suit. I think the dry suit is going to be best suited for this trip. On the flat locks I could probably get away with just some normal outdoor gear, but because we're going to be going down some rivers and some white water, there's a good chance that I'm going to go in there and have the dry suit. Just gives me the confidence that I'm going to not absolutely freeze. In the pockets here I've got some wetsuit gloves, O'Neill 3mm wetsuit gloves. I've got somewhere tucked away here I've got a beanie as well. So this is just what I'm planning on wearing under the dry suit. So just a light fleece, my Adventure hat, a merino wool base layer. There's my neoprene beanie. Oh, sun's coming out. Just some nice walking trousers. So these will do me in the evening as well. Because of the white water element, I've got these G-form padded pads, great. These are compression shorts. They've got pads on the hips and on the spine. I've got knee pads and elbow pads. I like these because they're quite low profile and quite discreet. I can wear those under the dry suit and I don't look like I'm a Terminator heading down the water. I'm not entirely set on what I'm going to be wearing on my feet. I've got a couple of options. I've got some neoprene socks, and I've got some of these sealskin waterproof socks. Either way, I'm going to be wearing these with these Gull shoes. These drain really well, although it does mean that water comes up through into them as well. And one thing I found with the sealskins, although they keep your feet dry, when they are wet on the outside, my feet do sometimes get a little bit cold. So I'm kind of torn between whether I'm going to try the neoprene socks with them or the sealskins. I'm going to report back on how that goes. Anything else in here significant? Oh, just a pair of thermal leggings. Depending on what the temperature is like, I may wear those during the day. If not, I'll probably be wearing those at night to keep myself cozy. Buoyancy aid. This is my Palm Kaikoura buoyancy aid. In it I've got a hydro pouch. I've got my camera. We've got a whistle in case of emergencies. And importantly here I've got my spot device. This serves a couple of purposes on this trip. It's a GPS tracker for those who are not familiar with it. It allows me to track the route that we're going on. It gives me a nice representation of that. It allows me to press a check-in message and it will send SMSs to whoever I need to. Although the only person that it's set up to go is Chloe, and she's going to be on with the trip at the moment. But the other very important part is this SOS button. If we do get ourselves into trouble and we're not able to reach anyone through conventional means, then this SOS signal goes to a central belt and they'll get the emergency services out and hopefully help us. So that's our little lifeline should everything go tits up. For the whitewater element, I've got my crash helmet with a mount for the GoPro. I've also got, and there's the little GoPro session I'll take, quick release belts for the leash. So I'm going to be using just a simple coiled leash, but rather than have this attached to the ankle for the river sections, I'll have this attached around my waist to this quick release belt, and that means hopefully I shouldn't get snagged up on anything, and if I do need to get away from it, if it does get caught, I can quickly release and get away. So by far the bulkiest stuff that we have to carry is for our overnight equipment. The forecast has a fairly calm wind, but we've got a kind of the mini beast from the east, whereas the temperature is due to drop quite significantly. Some of the forecasts are having it down -2 overnight on the Saturday night, and so we're going to need to try and make sure that we are kept warm and cozy. And so we've got our camping gear here in this large bag. Now I'm not going to dig it all out, but in here we've got the 2 sleeping bags. Chloe has a 4-season bag, I've got a 3-season bag. We've got a couple of roll mats, keep yourselves insulated from the cold. I've also got a thin sleeping bag liner that hopefully will provide me a little bit of extra warmth. So that's packed away in there. That's quite snugly packed, so I'm not going to dig that out just now. I do intend on doing some videos documenting our expedition, so if you want to see this in action, then just keep an eye on. Then in our second bag here, and I will get these out, so the dry bags that we're using are Alpkit bags. Big fan of the Alpkit gear. It's all very reasonably priced and all seems to be very hard wearing. We've not had anything let us down so far. So in here we've got our tent. This is a Van Gogh Tempest 300, so it's officially is it a 3-person tent, but as with most of these things, this means it's comfortable for 2 people. This is the same tent that we've taken on previous paddleboard trips. We took this on to Loch Marie, and it suited us well. It's not so big. It's fairly light. It's not obviously the lightest tent you can get. Good compromise between space and comfort. In that bag, I also just have some of my evening clothes. So in addition to my paddling gear, I've just got a hooded fleece that I'm taking. I've got another base layer which I can layer up if need be, and I've got some nice socks, nice warm cozy thick woolen socks for the evening and for sleeping in. In that bag as well I've got some waterproofs. I've just got a waterproof set of trousers, waterproof jacket. Although I'm wearing the dry suit during the day, I don't really want to be kicking around the campsite. Clocks have just changed, so we've got a bit more light, but still it will get dark relatively soon, and we're hoping to have a fire, and I don't really want to be constrained to the dry suit the whole day or the whole evening. So if it does get wet, then I've got some waterproofs that I can chuck on, and also help take the wind chill off as well a bit. Then we've got just kind of very miscellaneous food and cooking equipment and other various bits and bobs. So let's take a little look here. So Chloe's going to be carrying with her a jet boil. It's nice and light, can knock up a brew in no time with that. Along with that, we've got a couple of titanium mugs. In there we've got some tea bags. We've got our toilet kit, which is just a bog roll, some hand sanitizer. There's going to be a trowel somewhere, and then a lighter for disposing of any used paper. In my bag here, I've got the food, I've got the cooking gear. So food, we're going to have at least one lunchtime, a dinner, no, sorry, 2 lunches, a dinner and a breakfast. So we've packed reasonably lightly, but also not skimped on some of the luxuries. This isn't just going out and trying to survive, this is going out and having some fun and enjoying ourselves. So we've tried to strike the balance there. So food, we've got a big block of cheese. So the cheese is going to serve us for lunch and for dinner. We've got a chorizo and some bacon. Then our food bag, again, I'll not get all of this out, but so there is pasta for our evening meal. So that will be eaten with the cheese and some chorizo and a pasta sauce. For lunches, we've got some oat cakes, again to be eaten with the cheese. And then for breakfast, a bit of bacon. Now often on these trips we'll just take some porridge, but there's a small group of us. There's a reasonable chance that somebody else is going to be eating bacon, and if somebody else has got bacon, then I would have wanted bacon. In there is also some wraps. We can use those with the bacon, we can have those for lunches as well. For a little sugar hit, we've also got some Snickers bars and some little fun-sized Mars bars, keep us going. There is a good chance of some cake appearing too. In order to cook all of that up, we've gone pretty simplistic when it comes to our cooking gear. So doubling up as cooking pot and plates, we've got these good old mess tins. In the mess tins we can fit pretty much everything we need. There's a little windscreen, again a little Alp-Kit windscreen, just helps shield our stove. There's a little Trangia stove, really super compact, comes with its own little stand, and that will help cook up anything that we need to cook. A couple of little lightweight sporks. Lighter, I've put lighters everywhere, just so we've always got one to hand. And then for cleaning up, a little bit of I want to say non-biological, I can't remember what it is. It's the stuff that doesn't kill everything, and a scrubber, just a bit of soap to help us wash up. A little bit of liquid encouragement to keep us going. In here I've got a rather tasty gin. This is called a Gunshot Gin. It's from the Bothy Gin Company. It's a spiced mulled gin and it's really, really tasty. It should keep us warm in the evening. I've got a little doodad pouch. This has got all sorts of bits and bobs. This is spare batteries on the front. Inside we've got some fire lighters. Now I could go all Ray Mears and try and rub a couple of paddles together to get a spark, but I think if it's going to be chilly, we're going to want to get a fire going as reliably as possible. So there's a couple of individually wrapped fire lighters, they're quite handy. In here also just got a little penknife, some Vaseline, multi-tool, there's a little fire lighter, more lighters, a pair of tweezers, and just some other miscellaneous bits and bobs. And this pouch just keeps it all neat and tidy and together. For the evening, a little Connect 4 game. The people I'm going out with, they're pretty boring, so there's a fair chance that we're going to want to make our own entertainment. Just kidding. But yeah, just sit around the campfire, give us something to keep yourselves entertained. I've got in here, again, I'll not get it all out, but there's a tarp, a small tarp, just for covering over our gear or putting up a little wind shelter if we need it. And then right at the bottom of the bag we've got our first aid kit. It's just a standard kind of car first aid kit with standard kind of bandages and stuff. couple of things we've added just based on first aid course that we did a couple of weekends ago, and thought it was quite a good idea. There's a face mask, so this is a resuscitation mask. We've also added a pair of tough cut scissors. There is some Compeed blister plasters, some anti-diarrhea tablets, some antihistamines, and I think that's about the lot. On the side of the bag, and in addition, I've got a water bottle, I've got a Mora knife, I've got a waterproof lamp, I've got the fuel for the Trangia stove, I've got a Laplander saw, waterproof head torch, waterproof binoculars. There should be some beautiful wildlife out there. There's a good chance of spotting sea eagles and deer, so some binoculars to be able to see those. I've got a map of the area, and with the map I've got a compass. On the side of Chloe's bag again, she's got a couple of water bottles. So she's just got a standard water bottle. She's also got this Life Straw water bottle. This is a self-filtering bottle. Not that I'm actually that concerned about sourcing water. It's a big, wide wilderness area with a large loch. The water there should be good, but we're taking a little bit in just in case. And then all that leaves is this is our tech. So really, I'm hoping this is going to be a good opportunity to get the drone out and flying. So hopefully we can see that all right. So I've got my drone, I've got 4 spare batteries here, the remote. Under here also I've got a huge charging brick. Again, as we get out, I'll try and get some shots of this in action. But that should give me enough power to charge all of these batteries at least a couple of times over. The 4 batteries gives me about 50 minutes flight time. With the power brick charged overnight, then over the 2 days I shouldn't run out of batteries for everything that I want to get shots of. And I've also got cables for camera, cables for the GoPro, and should keep everything going. Challenge is just going to be trying to get this to stay on the board, so I've got some ideas about how I'm going to keep it strapped together. All strapped together in this nice sturdy waterproof case, so it should stay with us the whole way through. And finally, just about the boards. So the boards we're taking, we've got 2 Red Paddle Explorer boards. These are the 13'2" boards. They've got a big area on the front for cargo and an area on the back. Between us, we're going to have a couple of bags each, and I've also got the case, and it should give us plenty of buoyancy. This is Chloe's board. This is this year's model. Pretty much the same as the previous years, which mine is, slightly thicker, so a bit of extra buoyancy, and it's got these ram mounts. Now these boards both come with a fairly long fin. This is Chloe's fin. It's a FCS 9" touring fin, and for kind of general day-to-day paddling, that's spot on and perfect. However, if we're going down the river and it is fairly shallow, what we've both got in addition is just this shorter, I think this is a 4" fin, and that just stops us having the fin strikes and us shooting off the front of the board. So each of us are taking along this a shorter river fin in order to take us hopefully safely down the river. So there we go, that's it. I managed to get it in between the rain, which I'm pleased. So now I'm just going to get all this packed up, and the plan is to take you along with us, hopefully get some nice drone shots, and show you what it's like out. Now there is every chance that we don't end up doing that trip. We've got an alternative trip planned if the weather isn't looking so good, which is going to take us down River Bewley through the Agus Gorge. It isn't quite so wildernessy, and certainly there's no serious whitewater to speak of. It's still going to be a beautiful trip. So hopefully you'd like to come along and see our videos. Okay, love you, bye.